Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. I've got a little bit of double, there we go, a little double audio there. How's everybody feeling tomorrow? How's everybody feeling tomorrow? Let me know. If you can know what you're feeling like tomorrow, then you should know what the markets are doing, right? A little error on my part. How's everybody feeling today? What's going on with the markets? We got all kind of stuff going on. We got some signs and some signals and some potential things that are lining up with in terms of what may be developing over the next couple weeks that could release all this pressure that we've been waiting for. That we've doesn't mean it's absolutely going to happen, but we definitely have a case here. Chair keeps rolling. We definitely have a case here to be made that June into July may start seeing a lot of liquidity pouring into Bitcoin. So let's talk about that a bit. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's talk about that a bit. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. And again, let me know, everybody in the chat, you've all done this before. If you've been here before, this is your first time. I can guarantee it's not going to be your only time. Thank you for being a part of our family here at BitLab Academy, and everybody that's an OG, throw OG in the chat right now, meaning you've been here from the first week or so when we started. And there's a lot of people that show up early on the stream every day that I've been seeing you in here for basically every stream. You know, is today going to be the day, by the way? Let me go ahead and pull this up. Is today going to be the day? We're very close, very, very close. Looking right here. We are coming up right on, I mean, we are right at that mark, 6,980 something. I can't tell you exactly what it is at the moment, but we're right there, just shy of 7,000. Can we get it today? If you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Join our family. We break down the markets and really not just telling exactly what the targets are, what support and resistance are, of course, we break those things down, but we try to bridge that gap from beginner to pro, throwing the rope back to all of you. And so I do want to just encourage, by the way, patience for anybody that's watching that is a little further along their journey. Let's be here in the chat. Let's respond to people. Let's help build this ecosystem together, because that's what this is all about. If we want this to succeed, we need as many people as possible in the crypto ecosystem that knows what's going on or just has a good idea of how to pull out the insights, the meaningful insights where they're at, whether it's on-chain data, whether it's the technical analysis, whether it's larger global markets sort of context to play. We need to do that. And so, of course, we go over a lot of pro strategies, pro tools, pro tips, but we also break it down for the beginner. We throw it back and forth to make sure that we can provide that good foundational, that good fundamental sort of base layer, that base understanding of what's going on in these markets and what's going on when you're looking at a chart, understanding that price action and volume are some of the most important factors that you should be paying attention to, and how to use those along with other standard indicators or paid indicators, and using that with foreshadowing from what you're seeing in on-chain data, or being aware of what's happening on the global stage. In this case, you know, debt ceiling is in the title. You know, Bitcoin pump inbound, ? China buying crypto, debt ceiling decisions, Coinbase and SEC. There's so much going on right now that Stanley Druckenmiller, one of the most legendary investors of our time, an economist, and you know, he made a comment on the interview I did with Will Clemente that you know, people are asking what his thoughts were on the market, and you know, essentially kind of up in the air about it, because you know, if somebody that is that attuned and that accustomed to really breaking down what's going on in charts and giving some sort of idea to their own sort of investment decisions, if they're feeling a little uncertain or on shaky grounds, then there's absolutely no reason why every single one of us shouldn't also feel the same thing. So if you are feeling that, don't feel like you're an outlier, that you're lost or you're in the wrong spot, or maybe this isn't for you. No, I encourage you, I implore you, with anything in life, whether it's these charts, whether it's assets you're trading, whether it's relationships you're in, ask questions, dive deeper, be ambitious, be passionate. It'll go a long way. Now, with that being said, again, my name's Kellam, and I want to say again, welcome to the show. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to about 11:30, 11:35 a.m. Eastern time, of course. You can watch these streams at any time. Not only do we break down the stuff that's going on in the charts, again, even if you're watching this in 6 months, we try to really break down methods and thoughts and strategies and the understanding. So everybody hit that like button right now. I want to see hundreds or thousands of these little emoji things in the chat window. Everybody flag those up, throw the party favors in there, throw the hearts, throw the 100%, throw whatever you're feeling today. Now, are you a buyer or a seller at these levels? Now, I guess a question should be, and we should always remember, even when we're talking with other people, we need to reinforce this thought. If I ask you if you're a buyer or a seller, I should also say, well, what's your timeline? What's your time horizon? Because some people might be buying a 1 hour or 15-minute bounce only to be, prepared and the strategy in place to sell very quickly, scalp trading. Whereas other people, and this is important because, and the reason I bring this up is because if you're watching a YouTube channel like my own here, or Frankie Candles, or Ivan on Tech, or Investing Bros, or it doesn't matter who you're watching, BitBoy Crypto, the Trader's Reality, you have to really allow yourself to be patient with what it is they're talking about and what strategy it is that they're highlighting, so that you don't fall into the trap of buying or selling because somebody else said to, and you were not fully aware of what time horizon that they were really allocating that comment towards. So for me, I am a buyer at these levels, but I also have a longer term time horizon. I'm looking into 2025. So I'm a net buyer of most assets right now in the digital asset ecosystem. But that doesn't mean I'm buying every moment or every day. I'm allowing myself to be readily aware and patiently available to the knowledge and the data that's there, so I can pull out the insights. I can set up those chart patterns. I can understand what's going on with the candles and the volumes, and the weekly, the 3-day, the daily, the 4-hour, the 1 hour. There's different sorts of charts you can do on all these time frames to really identify where those best positions to buy or sell are, because all of these strategies can make money. The question is, will they? And the only thing that really shapes if they will make you money is what your execution is on those strategies, what your capital management is, aka risk management, aka stop losses, or even patience. Sometimes patience is the best capital protection mechanism that you can have. And all of us could do better to be more patient, not only with the charts, but also with friends, family, loved ones, people on the street when they're in your way. You know how many times I've been walking down the street in New York and I'm so frustrated somebody's stops walking because they get on their phone and they're texting, and in my mind I'm like, God, this person's standing right in the middle of the walkway, only to walk around them and within 1 block somebody texts me, and now I'm the one stopped on the sidewalk checking my phone. But we don't realize how we bother others. We only realize how others bother us. And the same thing is true with charts. These charts don't have strategy in them. These charts have data, and they could provide us the tools that we need to make smart investment decisions that can be fruitful and profitable over time, but only if we're concentrated on making sure that we understand our strategy, we're implementing it, and that we know what our capital management and risk protection mechanisms are, so that we can do it consistently. So all that being said, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join us here. Let's see if we can get over 7,000 today. We're at 6,980. You can see right here. If you're watching on any of the other channels, Hit Network, anywhere else that we are clipped, make sure that you come down to all right here, all of these socials. Check these out. Check out bitlabacademy.com. The new BitLab is up. We've got a bunch of new lessons that are going to be dropped here this week into the trading strategies area. I'm recording a bunch more stuff next week. We have other stuff. We have a lot of stuff in the pipeline, but we have over 100 new lessons in BitLab Academy. Let's go ahead and head there right now, just to share this before we dive into all the goodies that we're going to be talking about today. So come in here to BitLab Academy. We can see. This is all you need to do to sign up. On the top right, I'm signed in. All you would need to do to sign up is hit that enroll now right up here at the top, or click right here, start your education for free, which you can absolutely start your education for free, not only by watching this show daily, which is free, mind you. We want to make sure everybody has access to setting up that solid foundation. But you can also come here, click on that start for free and sign up for free right here. And you're going to get access we've got a sort of limited selection of Bitcoin 101, blockchain 101, crypto beginners, self-custody, a lot of the stuff that you need to really get a strong sort of first basic understanding of Bitcoin and blockchain and the crypto ecosystem, key terms. But I mean, these are all video courses. But then also some of the history of Bitcoin and blockchain, and also how do you protect your capital with self-custody, and how to, what is on-chain data? Okay. What are a couple key charts I can use? What is a candle? We have a lot of the basics there in the free stuff, but you can also, and by the way, in this area, at the end of each of those videos, if you let those videos play out, there's an opportunity to upgrade to the all access. If you want to just go ahead and upgrade to the all access, especially if you do it currently, like right now, I want all access, click on that, join. You can use the coupon code GIVE-ME30, which I believe, yeah, right here. You can go to bitlabacademy.com. When you add that I want all access, you can use GIVE-ME30 for 30% off for the indicators and for the courses. If you're just doing the indicators, you can use Stack 30. But I just wanted to share that with you all. So, there are available tools out there for you to learn and really understand this market. Now let's go ahead and shout out everybody here in chat, and just shout out to all the mods. I believe I got everybody. I may have missed one or two, which we will figure out and get you all sorted. But we're getting the package together to send out some appreciation stuff to you all. So I appreciate each and every one of you for all the help and work that you do here, keeping this channel running. But shout out to Learning. He was the first one in the chat. Crimson Caravan Company, Creighton C, Alexandra G, always in the house and helping. You did so much help, Alexandra G. I really see you and I appreciate you. I am George too. Who else we got in here? Granny's Garden, always in the house as well. Thank you so much for being here. Sawtooth Hiker, Randy Moore, Mr. Blake, Gavin Crowte. Is that right? I don't know. Gavin Crowte, Donald Massey, John Connor, coming straight from Skynet, Svetlin Petrov, Mellow Crypto, Tenacious B, Sophisticated Dirtbag, Fly Fishing. I like that. It's a good name. Justin Eubanks. I think I saw GS. Who else we got in here? Brian D. Everybody's in the house. A Mellow Fellow. I always love that name. We got Brocoshino De Niro in here today. I don't know. Unforgettable name. Almost said undeniable name. My girl, Taylor Warren. How you doing? I'm so excited for you and Tim, Mr. Timbo Slice. I'll be sharing a house with him. I fly down to Miami tomorrow. We'll be sharing an Airbnb down there for the conference. Who else we got in here? We got Karen Swigart Harris, always in the house. Indie Rock Crypto. I will shout you out special right now. There was a question I see right here. It says Indie Rock Crypto. This is from yesterday. I did not see it from my mods. That highlighted a question from you. It said, will you be on any spaces around the blockchain or BitBoy Crypto today or this week? I will be on BitBoy Crypto right after the show. I'll be doing the charts, doing some TA and some updates there. I was also on BitBoy Crypto yesterday, but it was more about everything going on with the new BitLab Academy, letting people know they could get in there. It's live. There's going to be new stuff added regularly. Get involved with the Discord. You can join for free, or you can join as all access. Of course, the free one is limited access, but with the BitLab Academy, I just want to do this special last minute sort of shout out before we dive in any further. Come over here. If you want to get any of the indicators, come here to indicators, BitLab indicators. This is a full trading stack, relative extrema. The Mesopic Vision is not out yet, but that is coming soon. Market intelligence, significant movement, hidden volume, all the ones that we talk about on a regular basis, all these indicators here that show us our divergences and show us the strength of the move and show us volume that's signaling where the interest may be. And then here, the significant movement on the bottom showing when, we're getting likely trend cycle lows, we get these blue waves. When we're getting likely trend cycle highs, we get these red waves, as you can see here. But all this you can find at BitLab Academy over here, indicators, BitLab indicators. Now, if you do want to just check out, any one of you can do this. You can come to bitlabacademy.com, come to courses and go down to view all. and you can see you won't be able to sign in unless you're a member. If you were previously a member, I do just want to say what you need to do. If you've canceled your membership before this update, go log in and then just go into my account and resubscribe or upgrade, I think is an option too, but I think it's resubscribe. It's in the subscriptions area. But these are all the courses that are just on this first round of launches. We're going to be updating this over the, I mean, there's going to be so much in here over the course of the next 2 years. We got everything from, we're going to be building out mining and AI stuff and coding. It's going to be not just trading. It's going to be everything, Web3, everything related to the digital asset ecosystem. So what is going on today? What are we talking about? Bitcoin to moon in June. Will it? What do you think? Where do you think? I want everybody in chat right now. You don't have to put anything else. Just put the number. Just type it in. Do you think we are going to be around? Do you think we're going to be below 25K? Put below 25K. Do you believe we're going to be at 30K? Do you believe we'll be above 35K? Let me know in chat what you're thinking. And then also, where do you think Ethereum is going to be? You can do that one following that. You could put, 1K, 1.5K, 2K, 2.5K for ETH. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm curious to see what you're all doing. I could put in a poll in here, but that would just cause a delay because I have to sit here and type it. So I'll just ask you. We got 145 people in here, 66 likes. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those subscribes up. Let's get this over 7,000 followers today on the channel. Now, what we're going to be talking about is a couple things here. I do want to, that's not what I want to. Oh, here they are over here. Did I delete I deleted my news articles. Oh, here we go. So first things first is, and Army Piper pointed this out, and I knew it was somewhat in play just because of the change in regulation. But why do we care about China? Well, if you're involved in any asset that's traded globally, you need to be aware of what the major players in the whole global ecosystem are doing, what their policies are, where the liquidity is. And speaking of liquidity, let's kind of go over here. Bitcoin, is it Bitcoin strategy? Bitcoins. There we are. This is a new platform from the Rational Root with some of his such great charts that he creates. Very, very unique, aggregates a lot of different data. But what we're paying attention to here is a global liquidity and why this is important to what we're looking at with, especially when we're thinking about what's happening with Bitcoin and assets as a whole. Assets as a whole, really, for June, June 1st. Why am I saying June 1st? Well, if we think about what's going on in the world right now, we've got, if we pull up the story again, China opens blockchain research center with plans to train 500,000 professionals. Now this is, there was another article. I don't know where it went. This is one thing there. Golly, I was running this morning, China. Newsnow.com is my favorite. Let's go to China and come on, China Bitcoin. I swear that I saw it. Let's see. So in June, it will officially make Bitcoin buying and selling, trading fully legal for all citizens. So this is something that is going to be interesting to see if it really fully plays out. And the reason why we want to look at this is because if we look at the Bitcoin chart, if we look at this chart right here, what do we see? Well, if I double click on this, minimize my other indicators, we see a strong, very strong bullish impulse here. And look at this sharp sell-off, only to push up again. Well, what does this tell me? What does this tell me as an analyst by looking at this price action? Well, first I want to know, we got this strong parabolic increase and then a sharp pullback and then another basically double top here, slightly higher. But this is very different than if we come over here to we look at this previous cycle, 2017, we could see we had a sharp push up and then just a strong sell-off. We didn't get anywhere near a double top. So what was what had significant difference between this and this? Well, one of the major factors that we can take into consideration when we're looking at the price and we're trying to figure out what is going to be possible when we're considering things like global liquidity, when we look at the Bitcoin chart and we know that we had this strong parabolic increase, kind of softening. There was some language and some fear and some FUD around what was happening with China. China actually fully enacts, shutting off, basically banning the miners. Now miners at that point, every miner that was in China had to basically, change territory, sell. They're no longer to be profitable. They had to sell assets that were held, miner held Bitcoin, which was quite a bit. This is that not only sell off from the miners, but also the cascading FUD that happened from that, and if, they did it near a top. Now it's kind of interesting that, they started this discussion right about in here that they were going to be changing the dynamic again in China, allowing, basically setting up for the allowance of citizenry to participate in major cap, not all altcoins and not all digital assets that are in the crypto ecosystem, but the major cap altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and a litany, a grouping of other coins as well. But this is also near a market cycle bottom. So I can't help but wonder if there's any sort of narrative shaping that's happening there that's also making the best use of regulation that helps people get out at the top and then encourages people to get in at the bottom. Now, I would never really argue that China is making regulations that are absolutely for their people, because I don't go through all of the laws, rules of regulations that they do create. However, I will say that it is interesting that they, pulled out of the market and shut it down up here, and they're allowing it down here near market cycle lows, as it relates to, this period right here is similar to basically this period right here. And we can see, even with the up and down and up, we could see there's a lot of healthy volatility to be made, because it had resolution, basically push up to the downside, pull back that gives you more opportunity, and then resolution to the upside. Now, of course, there's volatility on the way down, but what we really want to see, and everybody, there's a lot more engagement, and it's a lot easier to make money, I think, when you have an established bull trend, because now, of course, professional traders can absolutely kill it on shorting bear markets and trading this downside volatility. However, when we're thinking about where we're at in the adoption and the awareness of Bitcoin and the digital asset ecosystem globally, one of the best things that we have on our side is when we have a very strong bull market and people are making money because of the news media headlines breaking past new all-time highs. Now, the downside of that, and I want everybody to be very careful of this, the downside of this is, let me kind of come back over here to my profile. The downside of it is, if we really think about it, we want to make sure that you can make money on the downside and on the upside, but even though this becomes very good for PR globally, in terms of everybody that becomes more aware because their friend, they have a friend that became a millionaire. They have somebody that was able to buy their mom a house. Other friends that were able to pay off their debt. Just life-changing wealth, life-changing opportunity when you get in here. The problem with this is, and this is why I emphasize this so much, is that the people that buy here, and there are people that buy at the top of markets, the people that buy when we get up here, the only way price ever reaches any level to the upside or the downside is because there is a buyer and a seller. You see, the only way price action moves is if there's two people on one on each side of that deal, somebody buying and somebody selling. So while in terms of taking profits, I appreciate that people do buy tops, whether it's the top of, if we zoom in on this, come in here, if we zoom in on this, and let's get down on like the 2 hour, somebody bought right here. You see this wick right here? Somebody bought the top of this wick. Now, somebody that bought down here really appreciates the person that sold up here. But the person that sold up here, if they weren't shorting, if they were selling, somebody buying here sells here, they're selling this to somebody else that's buying this hype because they did not have the courage to buy this fear. So we got to figure out a way, each and every one of us, to contend with our own emotions and our own fear bias within the markets, our own fear bias within the charts, and also our own FOMO bias. Because, you know, we think about buying hype, that's fear. Buying this hype, this is buying the wrong kind of fear. This is fear of missing out. We all know what FOMO is, but buying this is being scared that you're missing this move to the upside. I'd rather buy a dip and know that there's a potential that it could go a bit lower, but I know that once it does resolve to the upside, that I can take the best advantage of the price action as this is going up, versus this is, you know, I missed the move, I better get this right here only to have it come down, and then you sell right here, and then it goes back up and you buy right here, and then you sell right here. That's not what we want to do. We want to take advantage of the knowledge of the data, the insights that are available to us. Now, when things, when we're looking at things like China, you know, increasing, China opens blockchain research center with plans to train 500,000 industry professionals. This is good. This is foreshadowing. This is also highlights a little bit of that that news story that. Hold on, where's my mouse? My mouse is. There we are. Got multiple screens here, and when my mouse is on this screen, I also see it on this screen. So I got to figure out where the mouse is. We've got to make sure that we're taking into global context everything that's going on in the market. So we got 186 people in the room. Let's hit that like button. Let's drive those emojis up. Let's get this engagement going today. We're going to be doing a majority of the show today. I'm just opening with a little bit of context of what's going on in the world. We're going to be going through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and then as many projects as we can. We're going to be looking at some key charts as well, some on-chain, as well as some index information in terms of very brief touch on some traditional markets, only as context for what we're looking at with Bitcoin and risk on and risk off sort of narratives, as well as just breaking down what's going on, because we need to be best positioned when things run, not after they run. We want to make sure that we are taking advantage of being prepared before the move is happening. So we're going to be breaking down all of this today. Crypto Billy, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, so now we've got a lot to talk about with all this. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to share before that, and that is, before we get going here, make sure I don't think that I myself. Let's all do this together right now. You all get entered to win some great access to the courses, potentially the courses and the indicators. Sometimes we've given out $100. We've given away lifetime memberships. We've given away so much. Come here to the BitLab Academy page at Academy BitLab. I'm going to put the link in chat right now. Retweet for it to be entered to win. To be entered to win. Make sure you follow BitLab Academy. And you retweet and like this this post, and you get entered to win. We draw on Fridays. I think I'm gonna be able to stream Thursday, Friday when I'm in Miami. I'm gonna make every attempt to do so. And if not, if we don't do this drawing on Friday, then we will do it on Monday when I'm back in office. But make sure you come here, follow us, come here, hit that follow button, retweet this tweet. Boom, and then hit this heart button. This is how you get entered to win. It's basically you're sharing with your community, with your friends and family. You're helping support the growth of basically meaningful crypto channels that help provide people information they need to build a strong foundation. And of course, anybody that's looking to join, this is a coupon code that you can use to join BitLab Academy if you want to get in there. I will be doing a sort of town hall, so with all the members here, for the members in a week or so, as well as some really special basically private webinars and stuff. So there's live stuff that we'll be doing, as well as recorded video content. There's quizzes, there's all kind of stuff there's so much involved with the new BitLab Academy. So we got 183 people in here, only 87 likes. We got some lazy lazy watchers out there, I appreciate you all being here, whether or not you hit the like button. But I will say, when you do, it's the easiest way that you can help support this channel, and the easiest way that you can help support crypto on YouTube, to let them know you like this sort of content. So let's go ahead, and there's a couple other. The other thing I want to talk about is Coinbase, the SEC. Now, this is Coinbase is completely, not Coinbase, sorry. The SEC is completely dodging the fact that they have a responsibility to provide some damn clarity to what's going on in the digital ecosystem. So we're going to go through this real quick and just have some context here. Today, the SEC responded to Coinbase's petition for, I'm going to take my face off here. Today, the SEC responded to Coinbase's petition for a writ of mandamus, which is basically asking the court to require the SEC to respond just yes or no to whether it will undertake rulemaking for our industry. Well, why do we care about this? Well, this is important because when we're thinking about the adoption and how much money is already involved in the crypto ecosystem, and Bitcoin primarily being the safest haven of the crypto ecosystem, being of the large market cap size, as well as just the timeline established in the history of security and decentralization, and all these things make it the most attractive investment for the broadly for institutions. And in order to get that $100,000 number, in order to get up to that $200,000 number, in order to get up to $500,000 or $1 million, like people have touted, that it can. And based on the supply and demand dynamics, it very well could get up there. But one of the things that has to happen in order to move the price that high, you have to realize, is the larger the ecosystem gets, and understand that there still is inflation. There still is new supply being printed for Bitcoin. That's what, every time there's basically a block, which is roughly about, on average, about every 10 minutes, after 210,000 blocks, there is a halving. That's what you keep hearing about. We've talked about this on this channel a lot, but I'm just going to go over it briefly again so we get it through our heads. There's about every 210,000 blocks, which is roughly about 3 years and 10 months. So people call it the 4-year cycle. Every 10 minutes, there's miners competing to solve a massively and a variable difficulty algorithmic sort of equation that changes based on how many different miners are on the network, how many are competing to mine, how profitable mining is. When mining's not profitable because price is low and the difficulty is very high, so it takes a lot more energy in order to mine, and because it's, then some miners start turning off their miners. Because of that, about every 2 weeks, the difficulty adapts to how many miners are on network, how competitive it is, etc. And so you have these mechanisms in place with Bitcoin that allow the network itself to sort of self-actualize and self-regulate itself, regulate how fast these blocks are going. Because if it's not profitable and there's nobody on network, but the difficulty is still really high, it may make the block times much longer. And so that's not reliable. And similarly, if you have a lot of miners on and it's very profitable and the difficulty is very easy, then it's still, it becomes there's nothing to regulate there's nothing to regulate the flow there. So essentially, it's regulated to where it's self-regulated in terms of how it's programmatically embedded in the code of how the mining and all this stuff works. But we have a basically supply-demand dynamic, and currently we still have supply coming in, but it's on a fixed amount. If we actually come over here to Glassnode, we can see right here. Let's go to home. You can see this very clearly here. My internet is going so slow. Is everything working on y'all's end? All audio, visual, everything? Okay, so charts. Now, we can come here. I can show difficulty. Boom. Actually, it's not what I want to see. Well, this is one of the charts you can see, but you can see the increase in mining difficulty as more miners come on the network. And then you see as basically it becomes less and less profitable, aka price is going down and the difficulty is still high. There's still going to be, it becomes unprofitable for miners to mine. And you want to make sure you have a lot of miners on there, because if it's too hard and it's not profitable, the people that are very narrow on their margins basically turn off their miners, aka leaving the network less secure. So you want to keep a good decentralized body of miners that are on the network in order to maintain security and decentralization of the network itself. And you can see right here, this is the China shutdown, and we had basically massive, huge exodus of mining. I don't remember what the number was. I think it was somewhere around 15 or 20% of miners on network were in China, which is it may have been lower than that, but it was a significant portion when you think of the global infrastructure of mining and how decentralized it is, but how much was still concentrated in China. And we see when they shut down, this is that same period I was talking about when we're looking at this level right here, when this price action sold off. Not only do we have the market intelligence part of the BitLab trading stack showing some boom, 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 4 bearish divergences, 2 more bearish divergences, price action rounding. So it wasn't just the Chinese narrative of the mining shutdown, but the Chinese narrative of the mining shutdown, as well as weakening strength coming into this, they both sort of work together. So even if you didn't know about the Chinese mining ban, you could have been prepared on this. Even if conservatively, price action sold off, you have a lower low on this rollover. You could have basically taken a short as soon as it started coming down. You could have done it. It would have depended on your strategy, but we're not breaking that down today. What we're talking about is the miners and all this stuff. Now, when we're talking about global liquidity, and we know that there's this, we know that there's an impact on when major nations change their policies regarding crypto adoption, crypto involvement in any way. It can have a massive impact on what's happening with where the liquidity is in, is it flowing into Bitcoin? Is it flowing out of Bitcoin? China shut down, that was, liquidity flowing out. We only saw a small dip here, but look how large that dip was here. In this case, look how big this dip in global liquidity is right here. This is basically all at the end of 2021, all the way into 2022. And then right before the beginning of 2023, we get this massive bullish divergence of global liquidity spiking, front running this price action right here. Now, as it stands right now, I want you to notice something. We have a lower high on the global liquidity, as well as having a bearish divergence, with that being that we have a higher high on the actual Bitcoin price. So this is something that we have to pay attention to when we're talking about the Chinese allowance, or the shift in policy coming in June. Now we're coming back over to the Coinbase case. Where did that go? Coming back over to the Coinbase case, when we're talking about all these things are tying together. I'm not going on tangents here. These things tie together because when we're trying to figure out where we're at in the market, we're having all this global economic pressure about what's happening, but there's also stress on the banks, but we're actually seeing some liquidity flow into Bitcoin while the banks are failing. We are setting up for a potential incredible scenario moving forward, but there's a major hindrance on that. And that's, with this right here, this is this lack of clarity from the SEC. And when basically Coinbase petitioned to basically get this Matamus, which is basically, get some clarity about, are there going to be rules being made? Can we get some ideas about what the hell the plan is? And essentially, let's go ahead and go through this. Today's filing may be the first time the SEC has formally explained in court its views on whether or how the SEC should create rules for the crypto industry. Now, this is going to be telling to you, and this is going to be so frustrating. You cannot assume in any way that the SEC does not have some directive somewhere that is telling them that they need, and there is some legitimacy to it, I will say, in terms of we don't want just absolute turmoil in the streets and every bank to collapse, because as much as if that would be good for Bitcoin, inflation would be ridiculous. The ability to have money, there would be like conflicts in every. Walking down the street, if there was no, we would have riots everywhere. It's not something we do want to see, a peaceful and sort of controlled transition, but not controlled to where it's 100% stifled. In this case, it says the SEC told the court that rulemaking may take years and they're in no rush. This is just absolutely ridiculous. The SEC acknowledged that it will continue to use enforcement actions. It will use enforcement actions as a substitute for rulemaking for the foreseeable future. This is just absolutely garbage to me. It's just absolutely garbage. And so we do need to understand that Gary Gensler is being put under incredible pressure on both sides now. I do think that there is, the global central banks and, all these sort of major players in the world economies are definitely putting him between a rock and a hard space, because you also see, what was it, about 3 weeks ago when he went and testified before Congress. While he was testifying before Congress, they were taking him to task. They were absolutely crushing him on his ability to give any sort of clarity. I think they asked him, I saw a stat, it was like, they asked him like 640 yes or no questions, and I think he answered yes or no like 3 times. I'll have to go and look up, I'll see if I can pull up that thing. But even if that's completely nowhere near right, I watched a good bit of it. I watched several hours of it, and I can't remember one time he gave yes or no. And now he's, of course, trying to paint context there, but it's just so frustrating here. But this actually brings something light to bear. This brings something good to bear. This brings the idea. Texas Twister, yeah, we are in the BitLab cooking up some fire. Yeah, thank you for being here. We got 195 people in the room, 108 likes. Let's go ahead and drive those likes up and get those emojis down. Let's get this engagement up. It lets YouTube know you like this stuff. They share it with more people. Now, one of the things that one of the ways that this can benefit the crypto ecosystem here in the near future, sometime I would say by the end of the summer, is I do think that there's going to be some sort of shift in, excuse me, some sort of shift in the government broadly supporting, I don't want to say Gary Gensler. I think there's going to be a shift that comes in the directive of the SEC, or in how digital assets, how and who are managing the regulation and prosecution in any case with the digital asset ecosystem. I do think, this is not backed by any sort of inside knowledge or anything. I do think, based on a lot of the things I'm seeing, a lot of pressures that are taking place, I do think that there's going to be some sort of, I don't think it's going to be any sort of full resolution of the matter where it's like nothing's in security or only these specific. I don't think it's going to be outlined that deeply, but I do believe that here by the end of the summer, and hopefully before that, especially with this SEC case that we're talking about right now in court, I do think there's going to be some sort of minimum requirement ruling against the SEC or some sort of action taken that is going to be required for some level of clarity. Now, are we going to like what that is? Who's to know? There's no telling which way that could go. But even if it's something that, has an immediate down effect on price action, clarity will have a benefit at some point. And, make no mistake. I think the crypto ecosystem is large enough now. Now it pales in comparison to global equities and gold and real estate and big banking cartels. But it is large enough now. And there's, something like 1 in 4 Americans has exposure to digital assets. I do think there's going to be pressure to get meaningful regulation that, because of, if we think about this right here, this is important. This all ties together. China opens blockchain research center with plans to train 500,000 industry professionals. And they're looking at, moving towards allowing citizenry to be involved with the digital asset ecosystem. All the while, Gary Gensler and the SEC says, we may not have regulation for years. We're just going to continue basically regulating this space through enforcement on what we deem to be. That's just absolute nonsense. But when you look at this article right here, think about what happened in the US. I mean, really globally, but in the US and Russia between, the 50s to 80s. I'm not even going to say what that chilly tension was called. You all know what it was called, the cold. People think that ended a long time ago. And I think what's really happened in the last, 30 to 50 years, is we've been in this global trade war that isn't just we're in a trade war for tariffs and taxation. it's everybody's trying to get themselves positioned economically to be at the king of that castle, because he who controls the flow of capital controls, you know, the shape of what direction, you know, who has the most impact on making decisions globally. And so with China opening this research center, pouring sort of capital and pouring their mind and their empowering a growth in this sector, I think as much as silly as this is, and the lack of ability for the Gensler to make a decision, I think this is actually going to become some sort of national security threat, or that narrative is going to be shaped in that we need to have empowering and well thought out regulation that helps support building out a meaningful ecosystem that the U.S. can participate in, not as a second or third or fourth comer, but as somebody that is, you know, in equity. You know, we should be in equity with other nations. Everything shouldn't be a competition, but that's not how it is. The U.S. wants to be number one, and if we're not number one, then they're going to absolutely crush it beyond what we want. So we really need to get ahead of this, because if China really makes a lot of headway on what's going on with the blockchain and digital asset ecosystem, then it stands to reason that there could be something with tighter tighter enforcement restrictions on the digital asset ecosystem, because it will be basically in the grasps of leadership globally from China. So I do think that we don't like bowing out of stuff. So I think because of that, there is going to be some empowerment that comes in from all this, in terms of having some clarity that comes in at some point, because we need that clarity. Long-winded. We need that clarity to come back around to fuel Bitcoin's price in order for us to have any sort of, let's go ahead and mute our divergences, to any sort of price action that goes like this. You know, this was obviously a lot more than the last one. This was 8,000%. This one was, you know, we've got 2,000%, about 2,000% from the bottom. You know, even on this pullback, boom, you know, we had 1,600%. Now let's go. This is just moon math here, but let's go 600%. 600% takes us back to $100,000. Now, am I doing moon math on $100,000? No, I don't think it's necessary, because I do think absolutely that it will get there. I think it'll get far and beyond $100,000. In fact, I think it'll be in the millions. Do I think it's going to get there this cycle? Absolutely not. In terms of the millions, I think 130 to 190 is probably likely, with a high, you know, if we really were pushing 235 or something, somewhere in that range. You know, I have a box that I drew here from when I did some math before. This is 129 up to 205. This is very reasonable for me if we were to get there. That doesn't mean I'm trading where I'm only taking profit here. This is a potential of where it could go. I think, you know, if we talked about this a lot, I think that we are absolutely going to have this scenario play out where we do get some sort of push above 32, somewhere in the 30, I would say $38,000 to $42,000 region, to have a rejection coming back down to the 24 to 27,000. Let's just call it 27,000, and then we get our strong impulse that takes us up to this is a 2.618 of this move. So I do think it's possible, but there's so much regulation coming in, and there's also that is yet to come in, I should say, and there's also so much uncertainty as to, you know, this we have the debt ceiling. That's I think the deadline on that is June 1st. So this is why, you know, the U.S. has increased the debt ceiling, I believe it's 78 times since the 60s. 78 times. And if I'm no perfect analyst, but if one were to wonder, are we going to raise the debt ceiling again? Well, if we've done it every time we've needed to in the past, what reason would we not do it now, especially coming into an election year? And now I want everybody to realize also, whether it was President Trump in office or President Biden, we have to remember that The president is not the one that does that has anything to do with the debt ceiling. Now, can he cause incentives and pressures? Sure, but we need to hold our Congress accountable to getting this resolved. They've known about this for over 6 months. They've known about it. I think we hit the limit and then had some softening legislation around what we could do, but we hit the limit back in January, I believe, and we've just sort of been trailing on this, and we can't come to terms on raising the ceiling. In reality, what we need to do is come to terms on having a balanced budget that doesn't put us in this situation. But if we have the debt ceiling lifted, that's a lot of the uncertainty we're seeing in the market. If we have China come in and we, even slowly starting to allowing liquidity, that bridge from Chinese capital to have that liquidity flow into Bitcoin and some of the major alts, some of the top alts, then we could really be seeing a very, very strong price action in June. Now, if we come over here to coin market cap, let's go ahead and look. Let's just take a gander here. We're going to go ahead and look at the chart. Now, we're going to be going over the last 45 minutes of the show here in about, actually, it's a little less than that, about 40 minutes. We're going to be going over a lot of TA. So if you have any special coins that aren't, I'm going to show you my watch list here. I watch a lot of coins, but if you have anything that's not listed, you know what? This is my old one. I've got quite a few more, but if you see any, if there's any that you really, any coins that you'd really like to see TA on, breaking down what's going on and basically getting positioned, throw it in the chat right now. Now's the time. Throw it in the chat. Everybody can throw 2 coins in each. And when we see a lot of repeats or any ones that really stand out, I'll have the mods will send me a live alert thing here. And by the way, you can ask questions here. If anybody asks a meaningful question, that has to do with something going on in the space, I'll try to make it a point to answer it. Anybody that does any super chats, I will 100% make sure that gets read, just as a thank you for, basically keeping this channel alive. But Gesundheit. Now, coming back over here, we're just going to kind of take a look at what's going on here in the market. 30 days. Okay. Bitcoin. Okay. Wow. That's up 576%. By the way, there's a lot of interesting things that anybody wondering about this coin. I'm not pumping this whatsoever. There's a lot of FUD back and forth about what happened here. Ben did not start this coin. His name was Ben. He thought it was interesting. He's like, it's Ben. This is funny. So he got involved with it, found out one of the guys that was basically a part of that project didn't have any sort of clear mechanisms in place to prevent it from being rugged. He had already talked about it. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to take over this project and then basically develop this project to where all the liquidity that's made in this project, all of it, not some, all of it on, the portion that he owns, all of it will be allocated towards building out lobbying efforts for crypto regulation in a healthy way, setting up, it was all good stuff, community awareness, advertising and campaigns for crypto, not for this project alone, for Bitcoin, for crypto, for altcoins. For supporting education in crypto, providing education and funding that for people, for agencies, for people. So all the FUD that you see out there, by the way, we need to go to bat. Ben can be a bit boisterous sometimes and misunderstood. But everything that Ben is doing, BitBoy Crypto, he's doing for the betterment of the space. And he's human just like anybody else. So he makes issues sometimes. But I just saw that. It's the only reason why I'm pulling this up is because this was the largest gainer. Now we can see everything else in the last 30 days. We've had a down month. Of course, we know that by looking at the charts. Looking at the last 7 days, we can see the graph. Graph is up most. GRT. I do hold this project. I bought the market cycle lows or in that sort of region. Gala, it's nice to see them pulling up a little bit after that sort of a little bit of pullback after they got not delisted, but restricted access on Coinbase. Phantom up, Algorand up, Cosmos. Let's go. This is just the top ones. Polygon, you see this? This is why you need to pay attention to any project you're in. Something's up 584%. You wait for pullbacks to see if it's even worth getting in. So this is down 27%, further down 5%. Chili's down. I can't believe I still have Chili's on here. I don't even pay attention to Chili's. Taking that one off. Compound, we're seeing a lot of movements in the market. H bar. I'm so frustrated with Coinbase right now. You see this right here. I traded out of H bar. No, what was it? No, I traded out of another project. I don't remember what it was. It was a small layer 2, very small, like a 300. It's a very small micro cap. I traded out of it into XLM, specifically only to send that XLM to another exchange so I could basically do another trade. And it's still, this was Friday. It's still sitting pending because I didn't think to check this page. I will recommend, before you're ever going to trade to send something off exchange, come to status.coinbase.com. Check if there's any issues, because this was posted 3 hours, literally same day, 3 hours before 3 hours before I did that transaction. So I ended up having to sell H bar, which I was holding on the other exchange, to do the other trade I wanted to. So I'm sitting here like biting at my teeth, like, chomping on my tongue, and just like, I want this sorted so I can go back and reallocate into H bar. But little sort of side tangent there. Now, we got 218 people in the room, 142 likes. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now let's go ahead and dive in. Let's look at the TA we want to do. So first things first, we did almost an hour on Bitcoin yesterday. So I'm going to do a little bit minimal Bitcoin today. And we're going to do a lot of alts. We're going to make this happen. So Crimson Caravan Company, I guess, I'm guessing you, okay. So some of the ones I'm going to try, some of the ones that I already have the charts up for also. We'll do render, near. We'll definitely do AVAX. We'll make sure to hit Matic. A lot of people were asking about Matic the other day. Phantom. We'll see if we can hit Arbitrum, and we're gonna do that Turbo TA today. So now these lines, of course, any of you that have watched me, these are the possibilities. Now, if you get frustrated if an analyst says it could go up and could go down, then you're asking for somebody to give you something they can't give you. The truth is, at any point in time ever, price could go up or it could go down. So we have to prepare for those two scenarios. These are the basically three scenarios that I'm seeing, because it could also go sideways, or it could also fake out to the downside, or fake out to the upside and come down. So these are the three sort of scenarios that I'm seeing are likely for Bitcoin. Now with this is almost tapped down to this green box that I've had up here for several weeks now, and we know that this is this level. This orange box is this previous sort of zone right here. I actually can draw this a little higher because I wanted to have the entire candle bodies in here and the wicks. So this zone, we could see this bounce off right here, rejected. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of a baby. A spider was running across my, it's down near my feet now. It's okay. I'm a man, I can do it. I was in the military. I was in a special forces unit. Spiders are okay. So let's look at this. So we've got this major level we're watching for. Everybody's worried because we're having a little bit of a pullback. If we turn off all of the stuff, we could see just by price action alone, we would expect typically when we push up here, we came back, look, touch this zone right here. We pushed up, we got a little bit of a washout, but we tested this sort of price action because people were really not sure. The market was really unsure if the context of this bull run was legitimate. So we got a little bit of washouts both times here, but resolved to the upside. So on this, we haven't had any pullback here on this portion of price action. And we're not even looking at anything other than price action right here. Man, watch out for that spider. So we haven't had any of this coming down. We can see the crosshairs coming across my screen. We would like this to, at some point, a wick or something, just for health of the scenario. It doesn't have to happen, but there's nothing bearish at all in terms of this structure before this starts breaking this level and this level, which is the same level. Before we start breaking down here, I wouldn't even start being concerned with bearishness. I can start preparing for the potential. Sure, but we can see right here we've got a little bit. It's kind of come back over here. I want to look at the BitGet chart. Yeah. So bring this down. We could see that we've got a little bit. It's arguable of whether or not this is a trading channel. I think it is more, yeah, trading channel here. We've got a bit of a trading channel here with, you know, look at all these lines go in different directions. We can kind of, I'm going to leave this one very small here because when price action starts coming back up, which at some point it will, we will look to this as a potential area for price to reject from. So now with Bitcoin, if let's go ahead and look at our indicators. We had the rising wedge here, fell out of it just like expected. If we look zooming in like this, we could see the relative extrema sticking way out of the bars here. I'm going to take my face off here so you can see just the chart. The relative extrema with these bars outside of the cloud, you can see is also relevant on these candle bars that turned red all the way into this, or pink, signifying that this redness is in these candle bars. That's why these are pink. So, you know, if I delete this, you see how that's not there anymore. It's important that you know that. And if you don't have the new updated BitLab relative extrema, delete it from your chart. Come up here to indicators, which is this icon right here. Now come to invite only scripts. And come to BitLab relative extrema, add it, and you'll see it right there. If you want to move the organization, you just press these little arrows right here. Now, when these bars are outside of this wave, for anybody that doesn't know, this wave that I'm discussing is a shaded wave. You see this? This is a healthy aggregate, the healthy movement wave. So when the actual price action is moving out of context for what it should be, it's almost like an inverse of the Bollinger Bands. With other, there's a lot more to it, but it's showing like the healthy move with, you know, the proper buy and sell pressures and the things that would be healthy for this to carry up. You see, these are white. These are bullish bars. I double click on my candles. I turn this, you know, from green and red to white and gray. That way I only see green when the relative extrema is flashing that it's an unhealthy move, as we're seeing right here, or unhealthy move to the upside, which is pink. And we see this was leading all the way into this zone. This is also pushing into this EMA ribbon, which we have some big updates coming to the market intelligence, which is this indicator up here with the flags and the EMA ribbon and all these divergence readers and all this sort of stuff. We can see that this is getting rejected in the EMA ribbon. Rejected, and we also had bearish divergence here on the 4-hour. But as soon as this is coming down, we're starting to get a couple conflicting signals here. The relative extrema is triggered here, as well as overheated, looking like it's very overheated on the 4-hour. So let's come down to the 1-hour. We're gonna do 4-hour and 1-hour on most of the charts. Now, this is pushed up. This is broken above the EMA ribbon, but this is fallen right back below it. So this is still looking very weak. If I were to guess, I keep feeling stuff on my toes. And I think it's a spider. It's just dog hair. So I said, hallelujah this evening. I'm going to be okay. So looking at this, one of the things I would be worried about is this is looking like a stair step. Boom, 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 boom. And we've also got a little bit of a head and shoulders right here. So I would be looking for likely a test, maybe another test down a little bit lower. Maybe what we're doing is a healthy sort of, let me mute this. Let's get back to the 4-hour. Maybe what Bitcoin is doing a healthy sort of walk down to this level rather than a very scary wick down. But either way, what I'm seeing right now is that Bitcoin is looking like it's finding resistance under this line right here. It's looking like it wants to try lower. Will it get down here? I don't know. But as it stands right now, this is looking a bit weak. But one of the things I do want to point out is if you look on the weekly, you can see the relative extrema was overheated in this rollover, overheated in this consolidation and kind of rollover. But look at this. Green up, green up. This is not green, it's white. Green up. This green candle is a relative extrema sticking out. You see this? Now we're getting this, and this is larger. You see how more unhealthy this price action to the downside is right here? And this had a way deeper wick like this. So this is green as it stands right now. Now we do have 5 days left, so we want to see how this plays out. But could there be something brewish building? This something brewish, something bullish brewing? Well, this is showing currently there are some bullish pressures in context of what we're seeing right here. And on this candle, we're getting as it stands right now. Now, given there's 5 days left, this is at this current point looking like it's trying to make some sort of statement that there's going to be a move. Now, looking on the 3-day, we can see this is also starting to roll over just like this. Now, the question is going to be if this rolls over, because this played out, rolled over, but this found resistance. If this rolls over, is this going to find resistance lower on either this trend line or this trend line? It seems to reason that if this did come up here, we do have a very strong case that we would get a rejection here because of this massive trend line that we have here, as well as this downtrend line right here, this confluence right here. So if this does push up to this 28,700 level, I would be very, very cautious at this level to wait for a confirmation on a breakout to the upside. If you're not playing this move from lower, be patient with this. If this were to break down, this does look like a bear flag. Look at this on the 3-day. You see on the 3-day, you get clarity. This looks like a bear flag. We can go to the daily. This is looking still a little bit weak. I would just be cautious right now for the next couple of days on this. If I had to guess, even on the daily, this does have a blue. Wave here on significant movement, which is showing that it's undervalued. But 8-hour, see, yeah, this is. I would be looking for more likely than not, a test lower. If this does push up, I'd be looking for strong resistance at this 28.4 level if this came straight up here. But yeah, the lower side is $26,000. But we very well could just come down and hold it right here at 26.8. So it's just looking very uncertain for Bitcoin. Now it's going to go through our other coins. Let's go to Ethereum. Yeah. Trading it to make some Bitcoin. All right. I need to eat some breakfast, guys. Now, coming out here to Ethereum, let's go ahead. We got the 4-hour. We have our sort of trend down. Look at this, almost parallel with this macro trend down here. Actually, let me sort of zoom out. Let's look at we got a lot of stuff on this chart. What's going on here? I must have been using this for a training course or something. Okay, so we've got the macro trend down. We've got this kind of, I wouldn't call it a bull flag because this is so large at this point, but we've fallen out of this descending triangle. We have a flat bottom with a descending level of resistance. This has fallen out below it, and as it looks right now, this is a 3-day. Coming down to the 4-hour, fell out below it, and this line is clearly valid because we're finding resistance right on this line. This is fighting to be bullish. With this small pullback, we're getting a little bullish read, meaning that there's underlying, it doesn't mean this is going to go bullish. This means that there's an underlying bullishness that it doesn't agree with the downside price action. There's strength in this movement right here. Excuse me. Now, relative extreme is out. We can tell that with the green candles. This is overheated though. So these are conflicting signals, and it's right here at the level of resistance. So I'd be looking for, this is starting to round as well. Golly, everybody. Yeah, I said golly. We did get some bullish divergence on the hidden volume. This came right down into this undervalued zone. And we also have this trend line that we could have formed right here. Boom. So this is really interesting. I just noticed this with you all right now. So we have a descending triangle breakdown. Let's go ahead and turn off the market intelligence so we can see everything clearly. We can see this descending triangle, which is a bearish triangle, broke down into an ascending triangle, ascending level of support, flat level of resistance. I would still lean a bit more bearish on this because of this larger pattern in play. Crypto Billy, what's up? Bambi or Newt? I will get to that. I'll do that one right here after Ethereum. This did break down. Look at this, broke down into very strong relative extrema, being out of context. See all this green? This is saying, hey, this is not healthy. It likely will bounce sometime soon. And then we get this blue symbol This is undervalued on the significant movement. I'm going to move this out of the way. Yeah, so we get the blue undervalued level right here, and this is so, these markets are so choppy right now because as soon as we get this bounce, we start pushing up, and then we get a bearish divergence on volume showing lack of interest of even considering going higher, and then this falls further. We get relative extrema again, and then this goes right into a deeper blue, and we do get a bounce. But this is not something I would be trading on this time frame because it's so choppy right here. I'd be waiting for a larger move confirmation. So as this stands right here, if this does break up back into this, I would be wanting to see some strength because we are getting bullish divergence on the 1 hour. We are getting the relative extrema. We could tell because you see this dot right here. This dot signifies that if we zoomed in on this, that the dot always happens on the first bar that's outside of the norm. So if it's bullish or bearish, you see, but this is bullish right into bearish. So there's a lot, this is just looking very choppy. If I were to guess, if I were to place a wager on this or place a trade, I would be looking for this likely to come down and retest this zone in here, 1765 to 1745 area. And of course, if we lose out, we're coming down to 1711 and then further down from there. But it's looking very uncertain on Ethereum. Let's go ahead and do Bambi. Bambi. I've never looked at Bambi. Man, I tell you what about this chart. Woo! There's no real point to do. There's no real point to do TA on a chart like this, but we can do it. Let's see what we would do. We'll get more resolution. 24. Now with this, it's not going to be as functional as when you do a larger altcoin. This is going to be a lot of noise. This is a launch, I suspect. And then look at that double top, boom, boom, boom. What do we know this from? We've talked about this so much, everybody. Stay with me here. You know, when you get those double or triple tops, whether you have a head and shoulders or an M structure formation, similar to bottoms, you can have a W structure formation or an inverse head and shoulders or a cup and handle. This is that market cycle. And so what we're seeing when we're looking at Bambi is this is just a launch, you know, boom, moonshot, and then the M-shaped formation, which means bulls attempted, bears took over. Bulls tried again, and they couldn't break the previous high, AKA the bulls are going to lose confidence, and now everybody flips bearish, and then you get downside price action. So we can see this here. Now, with this being as it is, this is not going to be super effective TA because it's such a new coin. I would say I would be a little cautious on this. This is something, if you were to trade something like this, I would only trade it with a very, 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 very small allocation of your capital. I'm talking like less than 1%. You know, so if you have $1,000, you know, you should have like $10 in this, or no more than, you know, because what happens is you can get trapped with the excitement and the greed in these things very quickly. So yeah, this is what I'm seeing here. In terms of where it could go, there's no telling because I don't know much about this project. I know a lot of people have been talking about this lately, but that's what I'm seeing there in terms of, yeah, just say, Creighton C said, looks more like Bambi's mom. Yeah, I really want to caution people when you get involved in any meme coin, whether it's Bambi, Pepe, Ben coin, any coin, and Ben is moving towards Bencoin is moving towards not being a meme coin because there's a full roadmap of utility, token lockouts for you know, the liquidity in the space for the back end people, not for you all, not for everybody else, for like Ben and the liquidity provider, so people can know the projects won't get rugged. But when you're looking at like Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, and Dogecoin is a little more established now. When you're looking at a coin this early, especially brand new listings, man, you can have a coin that moonshots at the beginning and then just breaks down and just sits sideways for a year or two. So don't buy it up here because you feel like you're missing out. And then, I mean, and this is a massive drop, I bet. Yeah, it's a 97% drop since May 11th, since before that, since May 10th to now. You could have put in, somebody could have been like, I'm going to be rich, put in half your portfolio and you'd be down 97%. So do healthy risk management, healthy portfolio allocation when you are trading. Now, we got to go through some more legitimate coins now. Cardano, how you looking, baby? How you looking, baby girl, for Cardano? They just had their Hydro release. Could scale up to 1 million transactions per second. You know, it could be getting to that point for a good scaling solution. This is the coin pick I did for the, I can't tell you, but I did a coin pick for a particular special newsletter. But we can see here all these, what are all these lines? Let's zoom out, see what's going on. Okay, now looking at this, come here, let me wrangle you. So we have this massive downtrend breakout, and we've got a couple different lines here. I have one, which basically, let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's go to the daily. We can see where this point was support, resistance. You see, that's why I did this line here, and it's worked beautifully. And I did this line because it was just this point and this point. And I had this on here for a while. And then when price broke down, I already had an idea, I had an area to look for. So as it looks with Cardano, Cardano is in a downtrend right now for this period, especially if we're looking at like the 8-hour or the daily. But this is, excuse me, also, I'm going to make these a little bit lighter so they don't dominate the chart. There we go. So we have a falling wedge here. We came right up into the zone. Falling wedge with a, look at this, rising wedge in it. Do you see what I'm talking about right here? There's a rising wedge. Falling wedges tend to break out to the upside. Rising wedges tend to break out to the downside. So we are still within the falling wedge, and we had a rising wedge within it that gave us an indication coming into the zone that it was also likely that we could be breaking to the downside. Now, given looking at our other indicators, if we're looking here, we said we were going to look at the 4-hour and the 1-hour. We could tell coming into the zone that not only we were coming into a key level of horizontal resistance, it was also this diagonal resistance from the chart formation that we're in, also this chart pattern, which is bearish, and we have an overheated level. So I was fairly confident at this level that we were not going to be just moonshotting through this, because we're at a juncture, 1, 2, 3 levels of resistances, these lines all here meeting at this point, that also form a bearish chart formation that also have momentum indicators that are showing that it's overheated. And the relative extrema was pink. You see these bars? All these bars are showing this is overheated coming into the zone. So this would have been a good opportunity to short, you know, with a tight stop loss right above, you know, right in the zone right here. So stop loss on this would have been, where are we at? Stop loss on this would have been, I would have taken the short right about in there. And the stop loss would have been just like about like that. And so with this, if you were to take this position, when it happened, taking your entry right about where that ended up, your stop loss could be just above 1, 2, 3, these 3 trend lines, in case there's a little bit of a wick. That's less than a % loss, you know, stop loss. That's a 1% buffer that you have for any sort of price action. And then you basically, I would have taken, let's see, boom, option F, bottom to top. So yeah, I would have some sort of take profits here on a short in this zone right here at the 36 cents. And then also moving down the stop loss as this breaks below this comes up and retests this. So then the stop loss is now effectively moved in this zone right here. And we're, there we go. We could kind of put this right about just above where this line is. That's about a little over 1%. And you can basically just ride this down and move your stop loss. But the thing is with this, with Cardano on the 4-hour, this is starting to look a little bullish, but the context of everything else is looking a little more bearish. I do think we're going to have a little bit of choppiness here the next week or two in the markets, a little bit of scary price action behavior, but I do think that June, we are going to have some upside price action. So I'm looking at this coming down further, looking at opportunities to take a better position. So while the scalp trader may short this coming down, what I'm doing, my strategy, and this is not financial advice, is I'm looking at this like a short trader and seeing where price action, where those trades may be taken, but also where the price action may resolve to get the best entry possible to be positioned for the most when the next bullish impulse really starts. And being that we have this key level right here, this low, and it's all, these key levels right here, this high, you know, this sort of zone right here, you can see all the way across. I'm looking for price action to come back down to maybe double bottom right here, just above actually coming into this lower bound of this falling wedge right here, finding support in this region. And then instead of trying to ride the last minute shorts all the way, then what my strategy is position trading, is coming into this zone right here, zoom out a bit, coming into this zone right about, come here. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this bad boy. All right, coming into this zone right under it, putting my stop loss under this support right here, letting the price action come back down to this level, this region right in here, basically doing my entries, taking advantage of these zones right down in here for it to come back up. And then we're far enough along the way through this falling wedge, which you like to see more than about 70 to 80%. You get really strong. That's when the tension's really coiled, and you likely can get a very strong move out of this. A little pause here, and then sort of working its way up. So that's what I'm seeing with Cardano. Now coming down, I saw, what was that list? Algo, let's do Algo. Algo Rand. Yeah. Delete. All right, so now looking at Algorand, let's go to the daily just to get the broader view. Auto. Okay. Man, you see these reds right into the rollovers and these greens right into the bounce. I'm telling you, if you use this relative extrema in conjunction with the other indicators, you're going to be doing so well. If anybody is interested in the BitLab trading stack, the market intelligence, which is this one right here, the relative extrema, which is this one right here, that shows the strength of the moves within a move, the health of those moves, and you can also see it within the candle bars. When this is showing unhealthy, these candle bars are red. When this is showing unhealthy to the downside, these candle bars are green. That's when these bars are outside, and then we have their hidden volume, significant movement. You can find all that over here at bitlabacademy.com. Come over to indicators, come down to BitLab indicators, and you can use stack 30 for 30% off, additional 30% off, the $77 a month. And there's a lot of updates coming to all this stuff, but I just want to shout that out. Now, what we can also do, which we have not done yet, and I don't know why, I just didn't think of it today. I did it this morning, I think is why. When you're doing TA on any, hold on, I'm going to actually, let me kind of go to the 4 hour. Okay. We always want to look at the volume, the price action, right? And then kind of come and look at the indicators once we get a context of what's going on in the market. So we know this is in a downtrend. That's clear. Boom, boom, boom. This is on the 4 hour downtrend. Now this does look like it's starting to coil though. You see this? There's tighter volatility within this. I would argue, I don't want to pull that up. We can see this came down, got rejected just below the golden pocket, this 0.618, 0.65, which is also right about where this level of resistance was. Had a little bit of a fake out, but then a further fall down here to this level right here, which is basically in line. If we actually move this line over, it's basically, we're double bottoming this zone right here. Now, if we look on a larger time frame, I bet it looks a bit like a W on the 3-day. See this, trying to form this very ugly W, very ugly W, which is basically double bottom. But this is, boom, came down, rolled over. This looks like the top of Bitcoin in 2021, right? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower, right? This roll over. And then we have this lower high, and then we have another lower low. The key is going to be right in here. Are we going to get rejected and then form a new low in this regard? Let's kind of look at the 3-day. Let me see. So the low, the actual low here would be all the way all the way down here. But with the terms of candle bodies, this is the zone I'm looking at. Option J, there's a lot more strength here. Okay. So if this is to lose this level, Algorand, I'd be looking coming down here to this 1369, 1370. Now, I think it's likely, the resolution towards the end of the month, I think it's likely that we could very well get a little bit of a fake out here and then sort of ride this sideways and then move to the upside, or get a fake out here, actual move to the upside, reject back down, and it's going to be contentious, I think, with this right now, because this is not looking super healthy, but this is coming into a tight range. And we look, this does have blue coming into it. This is a 3-day. Blue is forming. We had the relative extrema that led into this consolidation. I'd like to see some sort of bullish divergence. This is on the 3-day, but coming down, let's come down to the 8-hour. We're not even up to the resistance level yet. And we're getting this relative extrema. Here we go. Getting this relative extrema showing, see this each time, this is just getting rejected. We almost have a bit of a trend line right here. We could see like this. I can actually make this a little bit sharper and it will touch all those. So if we're able to clear this is 1697. If we're able to clear this level, then I think we could have a try back up into the zone, this 1861. But this is looking weak coming into this. Relative extrema is overheated. This is on the 8-hour, on the 4-hour. Look at that. 4-hour, this is overheated on the relative extrema and overvalued on the significant movement, this red wave down here. And we're at a level of resistance. So if I had to bet, I would bet that this would likely, we're fighting the same high right here. We barely got above it on a candle closure, barely. But I'm looking at this likely making an attempt down to 1619, attempt down to this region. And then if we can't hold 16, then we'd be looking at that lower level. Now, somebody said near was in that list. Thinking I have these spiders on my toes. Ooh, who in here loves spiders? Quick poll. Do you love spider? Are you scared of spider? Not scared, but like if you're laying in your bed and you see a spider on the wall next to your bed, does that bother you? Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I love spiders for what they do for our environment and the ecosystem, and they're healthy. They're healthy to have in here, but man, they just make me feel like a little girl. Now go ahead, coming back here. We're going to do near protocol. All right. I don't think we've done near yet. So let's go ahead. And I do really like near. Near is one of those protocols, by the way. Near is one of those protocols I've been wanting to add to my portfolio for quite some time, but I just haven't been able to yet. Why? Because it's important to have healthy capital allocation, and you can only really focus on so much, and you can only do so much due diligence, and you can only allocate so much to, I don't want to have 100 coins with, 1% allocation each. And so I've been very strategic about how, what, where, when, and why I'm allocating capital to different projects. And Near is one of the ones that I do want to get, but I'm waiting on some profits to be taken actually from the graph. I think I'll be taking some profits along the way at some point, just because I got in really early, and to be honest, my portfolio is a little out of alignment right now because the profitability of the graph, and then the advent of the AI, all the AI stuff, and that somehow graph got loosely sort of wrangled into the AI narrative. This is a very ugly line. So what am I looking at here? This is looking, we'll just do this neckline right here. Just look, yeah. So with Near, let's go to the 3-day. Okay, 3-day, we're getting a blue signal right here, and bullish divergence on the hidden volume. And leading into that, just before this further little drop, we had actually a little bit of a bullish scenario highlighted by the relative extrema. This doesn't mean this is saying this is going to go up. These green candles are saying that there's not the proper underlying bearish sell pressures that have caused this bearish selling cascade. So it's almost like an in-move divergence of the underlying signals about the health of the move. So when this is pulling down and you're seeing the green candles signifying the relative extrema is at extremes coming to the downside, then what you're looking for is immediately looking for, where is my next signal? Where there is a BitLab market intelligence. Is this on 7.4 show only last divergences? Boom. Is this on BitLab market intelligence? Are there divergences on the market intelligence? Or are there bullish divergences on hidden volume, which we can see right here? This is a hidden volume when we have these R's or H's on the green flags, which we didn't get either one of those. This is a 3-day, of course, but also, do we get any sort of flag? Well, in this case, undervalued signal on significant movement. In this case, we got the blue pushing up. Now, if we came down to the 4-hour, we can see in that same sort of, a lot. This is why I like my market intelligence to be on show only. So this was it right here. This is the same move. Now, if we zoom into that move, we could see it's kind of choppy back and forth with extremes to the upside and the downside of on the relative extrema. We see that? We can tell by seeing all these dots. These dots show you the second the relative extrema is out. Now, coming down here, we're seeing a lot of blue dominate, no overheatedness in it when we come up at all. So that's getting very, very, very undervalued. So what I'd be looking for here, because we're not getting a lot of the other signals, we can come down to the 2-hour. Yeah. It's right here. Okay. Then what did we talk about before trend cycle lows? We talked about having that sort of W formation, double bottom, boom, boom, right? And we got 2 bullish divergences on the 2-hour right here. It was bullish, bearish, bullish, but it was bullish, right? We have the relative extrema. Look at this, option T. We've got this increasing pressures to the upside. We have this blue wave on the hidden significant movement down here coming into this. So we got the low, higher low on this higher low right here. I would have taken this trade right here to the upside on a scalp trade. On a position trade, I would be looking at where we're at right now. This is lower low. We're having lower highs. As this stands right now, I would be looking at price action, option J. I'd be looking at price action to come kind of in this region right here. This would be my target because this kind of bounces here. This bounces here as well. Near is looking like it's rolling over. This is at $1.64, $1.65. I'd be looking at it coming down here to the $1.46 level. This would be a good area to start looking for a potential to buy. It doesn't mean I would buy here. I'd be looking at the health of what's going on and the price action at this level. And if we're having some of that strength, but the other case is for this to actually touch this, fall through this and come all the way down here to $1.13. Now, if we are able to start pushing up, then our next sort of resistance above us is right about 215. Directly above us is 225, but this is likely will come over here to the 210 to 215 sort of region, and then we could revisit it. But with that, let's see really quick. AVAX looking similar to yesterday. We had this sort of symmetrical triangle. It did fall out below it, came out into the symmetrical triangle from the downside. So it did give a little bit of incentive, or not incentive, but larger probability this is going to continue to the downside, a breakout to the downside. It has, but this is showing a little bit of strength on the 4-hour, 4 bullish divergences. We have the relative extrema flashing. We have, this needs to flip back to blue. That would be great. 2-hour, this is not yet blue on that either. So if this were to continue down, I'd be looking next level down, 1450, 1455 level. And then it'd be probably quite a bit lower from there. $14. That's what I'd be looking at. Now, we do have this zone that we're in. If we were to project these out, these order blocks that are part of the mesopic vision, and this sort of targets a 1437 to 1417 range, which would kind of make sense as to forming another double bottom right in this sort of region. So that's what I'm seeing. I've got to run. I love each and every one of you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. Throw a bunch of the emojis in the chat before you go. I'm going over to do a little bit of TA on Bitboy Crypto. Come over there, head in the chat, and share some lab codes, share some positive stories. Get people over to BitLab Academy. Let them know how much, if you do enjoy it. I don't know if you do. If you do enjoy BitLab Academy, go over there, be a champion for it. Let's build this ecosystem. I gotta send the customization, but I really appreciate each and every one of you. Really, really do. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. So with that, I bid you adieu. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker. BitlabAcademy.com.